Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. A wonderful day all of you. Welcome to our Institution of Global Professional Free International webinar in IGP platform. Thank you all for joining with us in this wonderful evening. My lovely audience. Today I am your host. I am Kamrul from Bangladesh. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to be associated with IGP as a global member, and I feel honored to host this webinar. It's my delight to welcome you all to our Institution of Global Professional Free International webinar. Dear participants, our slogan is "Feed your skill kindly." So, like and share this live webinar with your friends so we can learn and grow together. Thank you all for joining us today in this marvelous evening, and it's my humble request to you all that you stay with us till end, and don't forget to take share and mention your friend. So first of all, I requested of our participants to share this webinar on your newsfeed and kindly give a react or a thumbs up for this webinar and share it to your newsfeed and Facebook group so that people would be informed and help them to know more about IGP. Today we have a speaker from Pakistan. Today our speaker name is Smart Mustafa Khan. She is a teacher of lower SEC and SEC level OPA Girls College, Rawalpindi. She is also a gold medalist. I hope some exciting moments are awaiting for you. Let's welcome our speaker to the screen. Hello,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good evening and assalamu alaikum to all participants. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We are
Thank you.
very proud feel that we get you at this moment. Then share your PowerPoint slide and then you can start your presentation.
Shall I take? Okay, I welcome you all the participants and ITP team. Okay, I want to take a formal start. First of all, I would like to thank you to the IGP team, and I have been interestingly attending the IGP sections as a participant. And today I am feeling quite honored and glad to be a part of IGP team as a speaker. And I'm really feeling honored and hope I'm going to meet the expectations of all the participants and all the members of the IGP team. And the topic that I have selected is slightly difficult, so assume a difficult topic. But I'm sure that after attending the webinar and during attending the webinar, the participants will finally enjoy and they will find the subject as well as the topic and interesting. So I would like to take the start from just the introduction of the topic. Okay. The topic is maps and cartography today. Seems to be slightly difficult to understand. This term is though a new one. Cartography must be a new one for the participants who are attending the webinar. Actually, we sometimes overlap the two terms, maps and cartography. So I'm going to here first of all clarify what is a map, what is cartography, and then the other things. But before going into the details of the webinar, I would like everyone to introduce yourselves along with your name along with your profession, the area of your interest. So please, in the comment box, do introduce yourselves, your name, your profession. That is what I wanted. Fine. Okay, now if you haven't gone through this before, it's a famous saying that geographers never get lost since they know how to read maps. So this is the importance of geography for us. That those who study geography, those who understand, and those who can interpret geography, they know their directions very well. They know how to move around in the world. They know how to move around in their surroundings. So we can never deny the importance of studying maps and the importance of studying geography. Map making is rather only one part of geography, which itself is a very vast subject. The list of contents that today we have to cover during this webinar will be a simple introduction to maps and cartography, the history of map making, we shall have it at a glance, the major components of map construction and interpretation, which many of the people find difficult, the basic types of maps in use today, not only by the students, for the professionals as well, the uses of maps, then the use of maps in other disciplines, the neighboring disciplines of cartography, and the crisis in cartography that the world is facing today. These are the major topics that we shall be covering today in our webinar. And it's true that without geography and maps, you are nowhere. You must have seen this sign while you are traveling from one place to another place using a cab or using your own vehicle. You must have seen this sign. So you do not lie anywhere if you do not understand where you are. Your location is very important, and it is the study of maps that help you to locate yourselves, to locate many other places. First of all, I would like to make clear that what a map is. Actually, from the Latin language, we have extracted the word map, and the history goes back to the word from medieval times, just before the Renaissance. The word used was mappa mundi by the early Romans, and that simply meant a piece of cloth. But today, the ancient Romans in the Latin world, in the medieval times, in the Middle Ages, they used to draw different sketches just for finding locations, and from where the word map actually got extracted. In general, map is a sketch or a plan to lead you to a destination, to any final point where you want to reach. You have to see a map. If you visit any area, obviously there also you see a map as a guiding tool. So it's the first hand tool of a geographer. It's the first hand tool of a traveler to know and to interpret how the maps are to be used. In geography, it's a graphic representation of the features of Earth with reference to some suitable scale, and we mostly draw it on a flat piece of paper or any other flat surface. So we shall be studying that in detail, this whole definition by parts in detail, and we shall understand the different components of map as well, one by one. The art and science of map making. Now, remember, I'm using the word science as well. Sketching, drawing, plotting is just the art, but interpretation, measurement, analysis, that includes cartography, in fact. So the word cartography, it has Greek origin. It does not have Latin origin. It has Greek origin. It has originated from the word charts, which simply means uh, drawing of something, map, in fact it means. So the ancient Greeks, they used to make maps on paper sheets, and graphene is writing, studying something. And when they started studying it, they in fact developed the science of cartography. So we can say that the art, science, practice of map making and charts, rather interpretation and analysis of maps, is known as cartography. It involves graphic representation of geographic features. Now we shall know what are geographic features. All the natural and man-made features through a principle of mathematical scale and appropriate symbology. Mathematical scale means that you have to involve several measurements also. And appropriate symbology means you cannot plot the mountain as it is from the ground onto a piece of paper. So what you need is that you have to select some suitable symbols for that. So symbology and mathematical scale become very important while differentiating between maps and cartography. Then the difference is that cartography is a broader term. Map making it involves general skills, while cartography involves some particular skills and proper academic training, without which you cannot compile the data with proper accuracy. Since map making it requires accuracy, perfection, and proper knowledge how different techniques are to be used for transforming the measurements from ground to paper or from ground to any other flat surface. So cartography encompasses and includes making of maps and their conception and study as well. You must understand, interpret and analyze a map, that is cartography. Now let's look at the earliest maps. I just want to let you know that the earliest map was of Mesopotamia, which was a place between two rivers, Euphrates and Tigris. And the earliest map was of that place, and around 2500 BC, it was made on a clay tablet, and it is still kept in the antiquities of a British museum, from where we have found the details regarding that. Then in 400 BC, Plato was another person, you must have heard the name of Plato, who made an earlier map to show the earth. Then it was Eratosthenes who found the actually who calculated the circumference of the earth in 250 BC. And then a famous mathematician Ptolemy from Greece. He was also a geographer, and he actually belonged to Greece and spent some time in Egypt, where he published his writing, his scripture named Geographia in 150 AD, that included a few maps. And then Romans were the first ones who used maps for military purposes, since they had to extend their empire, and for their empire extension, they started using maps. And later on, for the purpose of war, maps had been extensively used. These are a few pictures of some of the ancient maps which are difficult to interpret and understand, but anyhow, they appear that several sketches have been drawn of the earth and several areas have been demarcated, though they are not very clear maps as these were the ancient and earliest maps. These are also a few other maps you can see, and this was the ancient Roman map which was used for the purpose of war. In the military campaigns, it is showing Mediterranean Sea, and the areas around the Mediterranean Sea can also be seen. Uh, then the famous work in map making was done from Africa by a Muslim whose name was Muhammad al-Idrisi. His famous compilation in Arabic was Nuzatul Mushtaq, which is known as tabula rosarina in English. In 16th century, it was from Belgium. The Mercator's projection, it became very popular. Even today, it is also in use. And the first modern atlas, it was published in 1570. So you can see two, three different maps and the book of maps also, which was the earlier innovation of that time, right after the Middle Ages, when it was a time of Renaissance going on, when Europe was undergoing through the period of Renaissance and knowledge was being reborn. At that time, further development was made in the field of map making. You can see here that accuracy appeared when the US lands were surveyed in the 17th and 18th centuries. Impossible Black Tulip was the first famous Chinese map that showed America. Since America had not been discovered earlier before the arrival of Columbus there, it was in 1492 when Columbus discovered America. And after that discovery, the famous maps of America they started appearing, and different books of maps, which we call atlases, they started being published by different authors. And the 19th century cartography produced today the up-to-date maps with the beginnings of railroads. When the railroads and the railway transport it expanded, particularly in the 1850s, then further advancement was brought. Today, geographic information system has appeared to be the most modern cartographic science, and we shall be discussing that in detail after uh, three, four different other areas of today's webinar. Now, let's come towards the basic components of map. Now, when we talk about a map, we first should know what actually is a map's heading. So the heading of a map is generally a title. That is, for example, if I am going to show you a map of the world, I shall write down the world, physical features of the world, continents of the world, all like that. Compass rose means the directions, the four basic geographic directions: north, south, east, and west. Again, north is the most important direction since we have to show the true north, which is the direction of the North Pole. This is very important. Then come towards the symbols. As I already told you, you cannot show the exact mosque or you cannot show the exact forest on a map, so we have to choose several symbols. A legend is there, which is the index or the box containing the symbols or signs of a map. Colors are there, highlights sometimes to show the different height of land or the depths of water. And the most important thing is scale, which is the ratio between map distance and ground distance. That you have to show the proportion of map to real life. For example, if you have to plot a wall of 12 feet on a map, you cannot make a 12 feet long line on a piece of paper. So you have to say that 1 centimeter or 1 inch on a paper will be representing 1 feet on the ground. So 12 feet wall will be shown by means of a 12-inch long line on a paper, which will be easier to draw, and that is known as the scale. Grid reference is seldom used. It is a set of intersecting lines to help locate uh, the places and different positions on the globe or on the piece of paper. A network of latitudes and longitudes is something very important. So a map, we already have studied the definition of it. These scale, legend, compass rose, and title are something very important, without which a map remains incomplete. Now, this is inset map is included. Inset is sometimes a small box of maps is also included in a map just to show the details of any one particular area. Now I shall go into the details of the components one by one. See the title, that is the title here. Dominican Republic. This is the title of this map. Compass rose has also been shown, which has arrows that point to all four principal directions: north, south, east, and west. And if you know the north, you can locate the remaining other directions as well. Then map key is this whole box is known as the map key, where you have different colors and where you have different symbols, and you can see the symbols even in more detail, like here: water, land, police, road. There are different symbols through which we have to show the maps, which we have to show these features on a map. You can see that sometimes we also use colors, like blue color is used to show water, brown is used to show mountain, green for a forest, and yellow generally for a desert, or sometimes for grasses also we use it. This is what I was talking about. It shows the ratio between a unit of length on a map and the unit of distance on the earth. Let's see the further details of it. That is, uh, let's say 1 lakh centimeters means 1 kilometer of the ground is shown by means of 1 centimeter on a paper. Since you cannot just put all the distances in the actual form on the paper, so what you have to do is that you have to select a suitable scale. You will say 1 centimeter on the paper is representing 1 kilometer of the ground. So our scale simply will become 1 is to 100,000. Means 1 centimeter will be representing 100,000 centimeters, and 100,000 centimeters simply means 1 kilometer. So you have to select a suitable scale, plot a map. This is also one example of topographic scale. And uh, the latitudes and longitudes are together known as the gratitudes. So without gratitudes, you cannot plot a map. So how do you use these gratitudes is that these lateral lines on the globe are known as the latitudes, and the long lines on the globe are known as the longitudes. Now these longitudes, the main longitude, it runs from north to south pole. This is known as the prime meridian, and its central latitude is known as the equator. On the whole, we have total 180 degrees of latitudes, the lateral lines, and 360 degrees of longitudes, which are the long lines on the globe. They also help to find out time. The central longitude, prime meridian, also helps to find out the time. So let me introduce these simple latitudes to you, the major latitudes. The central horizontal line is equator. The topmost is North Pole, 90° north. This one is 23.5° north is the Tropic of Cancer. 23.5° south is the Tropic of Capricorn. 66.5° north is the Arctic Circle, and 66.5° south is the Antarctic Circle. These are some of the basic latitudes without which you cannot interpret any map or locations. Grid references are also seldom used, but some of the maps in which we do not use latitudes and longitudes, we generally use grid references in numbers and sometimes in alphabet as well. The cartography process, the map making process, includes collecting and selection of data for mapping, generalization of the data, construction of a map, reading a map, and interpretation of a map as well. Simply, we say that the cartography process, it's too simple to understand. Instead of understanding it in a difficult way, first of all, we have to collect the data. Data collection is the first stage involving technology, remote sensing. Map designing, which involves generalization, is the second stage. Using the map by the map user is the third important stage. And the last stage is through which you make decision. That is the spatial cognition stage, in which you have to uh, apply your analysis in the field, whatever you have studied and interpreted through a map. So this is how I have written it once again in the simplified form. Then come towards the types of different maps. According to scale, maps, we divide maps according to scale and according to purpose as well. The property maps are cadastral maps. The maps which are quantitative representation of the features, the most detailed maps are the topographic maps. The maps which are contained in a book of in the bookish form and generally for educational purpose, they are the atlas maps, and the maps which we generally display in offices are the wall maps. These are according to the size and scale, but the most important types of maps are the maps uh, which we use actually according to their purpose. This is one example of a cadastral, and topographic map is also shown here, which show even minute details. And these are the secret maps of any country. These are not readily available to the viewers or to the public. According to purpose, we have physical maps and cultural maps. Physical maps, as clear from the name, they show the identifiable nature, natural landscape features like the mountains, plateaus, relief, to which we say vegetation, soil, water, depths, and all the phenomena and all the features which have been taking place in nature. They are shown by physical maps, and they include relief maps, they include vegetation maps, whereas the cultural maps are maps that show tangible and intangible cultural assets of people within local landscape, like population maps, road maps, in which we have to show the man-made features like roads, like buildings, etc. Here are different examples. China Pakistan economic corridor. This is a totally You can say this is purpose-wise a cultural map. It is not showing any natural feature. Whereas the map that is showing the mountains and forests, this is a physical map. So these are the basic types of maps. Weather map, which we generally see in the news on BBC or CNN or on our local television networks, these are the physical maps. A map says, read me carefully, follow me closely, doubt me not. I am the earth in the palm of your hand. Means you can study all about the earth if you know how to interpret a map. The simple uses of maps, these are not the least ones, these are very important ones. These are, we acquire lifelong skills, obviously. The complicated information can be simplified through maps. We can reach a destination. These are the best glimpses of history. Sometimes the timeline is shown by means of maps. We can connect people and places through maps. They help in analysis and research, which is a very important use of maps. They pave way to the geographic information system and remote sensing. We shall be studying in detail about these. They help in decision making and planning, for which we generally use maps today on modern lines as well. They are used in GPS also, and they are the most functional tools for planning trips as well. Then in other disciplines, we can apply these. These include geography, history, economics, planning and management, mathematics, physical education, physics, literature, war strategies, and defense studies. Undefined, this is that area which has long been used by the warriors, not only by the warriors, by the ancient decision makers in their military campaigns and in computer sciences also. There has been an extensive use of different types of maps. Then the neighboring disciplines, these are geography, GIS, and many other disciplines. Geography is the study of land, sea, land, sea, ocean, continents, rivers, mountains, deserts, deserts,
Dear participants, our speaker may be disconnected. Please join with us.
There had been some issue, sorry, in connectivity.
No problem, ma'am. You can share your
Okay,
screen, please.
I'll continue from the same
Okay.
slide. I would
Okay,
really
ma'am.
sorry for the inconvenience. Okay, we are back to the same slide. Ji, ji. I am back. Starting from the same slide where I left, there had been some connectivity issue. Let me continue. I was just telling you that how maps can be correlated to different other disciplines of the modern times, and I was about to discuss about geography and about GIS. I was just telling you that the study of the Earth's surface, climate, continents, countries, peoples, industries, and resources, that include geography. So, geography remains incomplete without maps, and maps remain incomplete without the study of geography. Geographic information system actually is a collection of computer hardware, software, and geographic data for digitally capturing, managing, analyzing, and displaying all forms of geographically referenced information. GIS simply it is maps plus information, the digital information and maps. If you add these two, it will be equivalent to geographic information system. Then the neighboring disciplines also include a modern term photogrammetry, the 19th century photography development, the measurements between objects, the interpretation of photographic images and patterns. It also is dependent largely upon maps, the analysis of maps, the reading interpretation of maps. You cannot advance into photogrammetry without the use of maps. And this is actually cartography that enables you to survey land. And that land surveying is actually a branch of mathematics that includes the measurement of the shape of the earth and the changing properties of the earth as it is in continuous rotationary and revolutionary motion, its orientation in space as well as the gravity field, where is it held in the space. Such field is today termed as geodesy. And the neighboring discipline, I will go into the details of the neighboring discipline, photogrammetry. I was already discussing about this. It was in 1956 that reliable measurements they were being obtained by means of photography. So we say that the art, science, and technology of obtaining reliable information about the physical objects by recording, measurement, and analysis of photographic images, that is known as photogrammetry. This is the simplest definition of photogrammetry. Then is geodesy, when you measure and monitor the size and shape of the earth. We say it geodesy. Then the most important of today's disciplines which are related to map making and cartography, they are remote sensing and GIS. Remote sensing is by the use of sensors to collect information without coming into the physical contact with any of the objects. You acquire information of phenomena and objects related to planets in space, but you do not need to come into the direct physical contact with them. Special cameras collect remotely sensed images, enabling the researchers sense things. The researchers they just sense the things about the earth by the use of remote sensors. And this is a new field in which more and more research is going on. Let's see remote sensing. It is the science of acquiring information without being in actual contact with the objects. This is how you can see in the picture also. This is done by sensing and recording reflected or emitted energy and processing, analyzing, and applying that information. That is through radiation, through reflections, and emitting of energy. You process and analyze data. You do not need to come into the direct contact of any object, and you make your recordings and you collect information and then you do mapping. Remote sensing and satellite images are interrelated. Today, we are going to have a crisis in cartography in the late 20th and 21st century. We might be having some crisis because the rapid development of geographic information system and the computer information system and the new imaging technologies of today's century and the last century, they have led to an identity crisis of cartography. The original cartographers are being lost. The classic task of map making has become obsolete today because now digital technologies have emerged and the sophisticated functions which the digital technologies have been performing regarding the analysis of the spatial data from space. Manual drawings they have been replaced today by the computer generated maps. Like Station is a modern uh, mean and app where you can make and plot maps. So the manual drawings they are today being depleted and they are today being replaced by the modern methods of map making. So the original art is going to die within the coming few years. The positive aspect is that digital cartography would draw more attention, as today through this webinar you have come to know. Maps can now be preserved in the digital form for long because there is no risk of maps being damaged because now they are in the soft form being preserved. The modern CIS and GIS could open more fields of research and they may provide more opportunities of deeper exploration and discoveries to the people in the coming world. And obviously, there will be expansion of knowledge that is expected. There will be better opportunities of future planning as well. But as I already indicated, the most negative aspect of it is that the originality and the real skill of cartography would be lost, which is going to be a big danger. There would be decline in the true surveying, in the real first-hand surveying and engineering for the first-hand data collection. And last but not the least is that our Earth is the globe whose surface we probe. No map can replace the Earth, but just try to trace it. So this is just an effort through which map making and cartography are just our efforts through which we can find the details and we can survey the Earth. But actually, there is no replacement of the earth. We need to save the earth. We need to keep it safe. Whatever technology, whatever modern means which are going to use in future, we need to be very particular and careful and wise in the use of the resources. And that is all. Thank you. Thank you all the participants for being here.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your wonderful presentation. Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, now we move to our quiz competition, and after that we move to our question and answer session. So you have to write in our baggage list at the same time, then we move to our question and answer session again. Okay, ma'am? Dear participants, it's our quiz competition session time. After a short video, please, we come back with our quiz competition. And after that, we proceed to our question and answer session with our speaker. Dear participants, it's our quiz competition session time. To join this session, you have to go to slido.com and the quiz code is only IGP. The code is IGP. Already 50 participants join with us. You can join this quiz competition by slido.com and the quiz code is IGP. You can invite your friend to this exciting session. One of our participants, the name is Frederick Aldeza. How to get a certificate? The question is how to get a certificate. To get this certificate, you have to go to our website. Our website address is eduizp.com. Then you have to create an account, then you have to enroll the program and you have to put the certification code. Then you can download your certificate. I think Sir Frederick, you understand the question. After quiz competition, we move to our question and answer session. Twenty-six participants join with us. Top 10 quiz competition winners get their certificate. This is our most exciting session, so you can invite your friends to join this quiz competition. You can also scan the code from our screen. I like one of our participants, I like Rizal asks how to join. To join this quiz competition from Chrome or Google, you have to go to slido.com and then you have to put the code and the code is only IGP. Then you can enter this session. You have to go to Google browser or Chrome browser. Then you have to write slido.com and then you have to put the code IGP. Just IGP. All are capital letter. Then you can join this session. Now 30 participants are joined. We start our quiz competition after 2 minutes later. After 2 minutes later, we start our quiz competition. We will pick your name from quiz. So join with your full name, which will directly print on certificate. I again tell them we will pick your name from quiz. So join with your full name, which will directly printed on your certificate. Let's start our quiz competition now. Our first question is, what is cartography? The science of map making or study of physical features, the atmosphere and human activity. 73% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is the science of map making. On the leaderboard, the first position is Cyril in Kelijo Yamaguchi, and the second one is Jimalin B. Rivera, and the third one is Jimma Binilda. Let's move to our next question. Our second question is, what systems do cartographers use today? Is it global positioning system or non-geographical information system? GPS or GIS? 4% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is global positioning system. On the leaderboard again, Cyril in Kalijo Yamaguchi leading the first position, and the following Jima Binilda and Min Kati. Our next question is, dispersion cartography skills are still used today? Mercator or Alexander the Great? Hasta eso. 64% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is Mercator. On the leaderboard, there is no sense. The third position is Lipakunla. Our next question is, the Mercator and Gulfstream projection are the most common maps today. Both are conical projection. The statement is true or false. Only 9% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is false. On the leaderboard, there is no sense. Let's move to our next question. Cartography is science of making maps or learning maps. 91% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is science of making maps. On the leaderboard, the first position is Relin Kalijo Yamaguchi, and the second was is Jimma Binilda, and the third one is Lipakunla. Our next question is, maps can be used as reference tools or are tools? %83 of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is reference tools. On the leaderboard, fourth position since, and the name is Emily M. Refugio. Our next question is, what concept of cartography has not changed between early cartographers and current cartographers today? Is it a style or the purpose of maps? 80% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is the purpose of maps. On the leaderboard, the first position is Yamaguchi, and the second position is Jimma Benilda, and the third one is Gineline as De La Cruz. Our next question: which aspect of cartography has changed between early cartographer and current cartographers today? Is it style and technology or right and blue? Only 6% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is right and blue. On the leaderboard now, Yamaguchi leading the first position, and the second is Jimma Benilda, and the third one is Napoleon. Our second last question is what manner is the marketer projection still is today? Is it for classroom use or for navigation? 86% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is for navigation. Our last and final question is cartography is the art and science of map making or cognitive imagery. 100% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is map making. Congratulations of our top 10 quiz competition winners. On the leaderboard, Yamaguchi leading the first position, and the second was is Jenny Lynn as De La Cruz, and the third one is Aclintina Shehu, and the fourth one is Evelyn P. Ferry, fifth one is Lipakunla, and the following Blaze P. Palma, Jimma Binilda, Jimalin B. Rivera, Ashok Kumar Odhikari, Minka T. Thank you everyone for participating in this session. After a short video clips, we proceed to our question and answer session. So let's enjoy this video. Welcome back, ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, ma'am, for waiting in the back space. Dear participants, it's our question and answer session. Then you can send your question in our comment box. After question and answer session, we proceed to our certification process. Everyone get their certificate. which is certified by ISO. So participants are requested to ask their question. We are waiting for your question. Dear participants, we are still waiting for your question. Our speaker again disconnected by network issue. Dear participants, we are still waiting for our question. To related to this topic. And our first question from Ayla. The question is, hello ma'am, Smart Mustafa. The question is, how does maps can still ensure accuracy in showing real situation of the world?
Yes, it's a very good question that you have asked, Adya. The answer is that since antiquity, maps have been based on accuracy because only the earliest maps, the very earliest maps, they were just the imaginations. And as soon as the developmental process started right after the Renaissance, measurements started being taken. And today also all the maps are being based on measurements. Without measurements, today you cannot imagine to draw a single map. So it is out of question that maps will not be accurate. Maps cannot be plotted today without accuracy until and unless you make different projections, you use different cartographic tools. I initially said that the difference between map making and cartography is that cartography involves measurements. So measurements they ensure accuracy in fact. So when you measure the distances, you take different measurements, you plot a map with accuracy. Today, all the map making is done with accuracy. It is out of question that accuracy is not ensuring the real situation of the world on a map until and unless the data collected is too bad, which nowadays is not a good deal of job.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Hope you can hear me. I already have responded.
Yes,
May I
ma'am, I
use to
can hear.
do I need to repeat?
Okay, ma'am.
Do I need to repeat?
Okay, ma'am.
Fine. Any other question?
Ma'am, we are still waiting for our next question.
I already have answered that the maps that we today plot, which are based upon cartographic skills, it is out of question that they do not ensure accuracy because cartography is something that is based upon the accurate measurements. The system of projections, latitude, longitudes, they all ensure accuracy. The all elements of maps which are used today in order to make a map, they all ensure accuracy.
you, ma'am, for your clear answer.
Any other question, please? Any other question?
Dear participants, we are still waiting for our next question.
Is that all? I'm waiting for any other question. If there are any other question, I'm here. Participants, if you have any other question, I am very much here.
Ma'am, our next question from Ma'am Evelyn
Ji.
Witty. And the question is, what do challenges do cartographers face? And thank you.
Yes. Again, the question is a very good one, and that has also been discussed in the webinar. The challenges to the cartographers today is that the real is being damaged and destroyed by the technological skills. When we are using the computer based skills, sometimes the manual efforts they are at risk. The manual efforts, the real effort and hard work and the skill of the cartographers, which the earlier cartographers, even the middle-aged cartographers of the Middle Ages, they used to enjoy, that is being lost because things have been made very easier by the use of modern technology. The greatest challenge is that the coming generation will never be able to know the originality of cartography because everything will be half cooked through the use of technology. So this is one of the biggest challenges that cartography is facing today, and there are so many other overlapping fields that cartography it might itself is going to die out because of the introduction of many new disciplines like photogrammetry, remote sensing, satellite imaging, etc. So the future of cartography is not that safe. As an individual discipline, cartography might not be able to survive too long.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your
Yeah.
wonderful presentation. I
Thank
hope
you.
we have more questions. And we are very grateful to you, and we are very grateful for your valuable time you sharing with us. Thank you, ma'am.
And welcome. And thank you so much. I'm really appreciate. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hmm. Dear participants, today our program name is Use of Maps and Cartography today, and the code is IGP 1550. The code is IGP 1550. Without code, no one is eligible for certificate. With code, you can claim your certificate anytime. And without an account on a website, you can visit only, but you can do anything functionally. So, to download your certificate, you have to go to our website. Our website address is eduyzp.com, and then you have to create an account, and after that you have to enroll the program and for the code, today's code, and that is IGP 1550. After that you can claim your certificate, and after obtaining your certificate, don't forget to celebrate with IGP checking. Thank you very much for attending and participating in this session. Thank you all. Stay happy, stay safe.